Hello, my name is Mike Sahari. This is Sunday service, and we're convening it today, as we do every week, at the Mission of Riverdale, Church of Scientology, 308 Broadview. And I'm going to start off today with the prayer for total freedom. And then we're going to do a little bit of a different service, given the time of year. And I'll explain a little bit more about that when we get to that particular point. So here we go. May the author of the universe enable all men to reach an understanding of their spiritual nature. May awareness and understanding of life expand so that all may come to know the author of the universe. And may others also reach this understanding, which brings total freedom. At this time, we think of those whose liberty is threatened, of those who have suffered imprisonment for their beliefs, of those who are enslaved or martyred, and for all those who are brutalized, trapped, or attacked. We pray that human rights will be preserved so that all people may believe and worship freely, so that freedom will once again be seen in our land. Freedom from war and poverty and want, freedom to be, freedom to do, and freedom to have. Freedom to use and understand man's potential, a potential that is God-given and God-like. And freedom to achieve that understanding and awareness that is total freedom. May God let it be so. All right, now today it's a story that is written. It's called The Man and the Golden Ball. And it has a message, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't be telling it to you. But we're in a particular time of year where we are celebrating a ceremony of something that occurred through time, the birth of Christ, and it sort of transcends all religions in that it's a time of rebirth, somewhat. Now, one could argue that its roots are more Germanic as far as trees and gifts and snow and things like that, but that's not really the point. The point is that this is a time of year when impossible things can occur. It's a time of dreams. It's a time of hopes, and it's a time of a shift in viewpoint. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. The potential of change and man's general reaction to it, and what you need to do. You got to persevere on those sorts of ideas and those sorts of changes that are possible. Okay? So here's the story. The Man and the Golden Ball. Once upon a time, there was a man, or perhaps he was not a man, who slept for a very long time. When he laid himself down to rest, the world was not too terrible. People were happy, and their actions were productive, and the green hills had flowers upon them. When he awakened, however, things had changed. He stood outside his cave and looked at the world. Yes, somehow it had changed. The hills were ugly and brown. Near at hand, two women were quarreling. Far away, a red cloud rose, and when he looked more closely, he saw that it was a battle. And so he walked down through the fields and towns, trying to find what had happened. Man glowered at him. Children did not play, and there was little food, and the haggard faces of all showed that each staggered under some heavy burden of grief. And the man, or perhaps he was not a man, saw that the world had come into trying times. He wandered about, understanding that here he faced a black enchantment thickly laid upon the souls of man. Perhaps some sorcerer had done it to man. Perhaps man had done it to themselves. But it did not matter. The world had gone mad. Somebody must do something. The man thought for many days. And then he made a golden ball and filled it with everything necessary to undo the black enchantment. It was a very pretty ball on the end of an ivory stick. And it was very easy to use, for one had but to hold it over the head of a human being and wish him well to break the thrall which held him. Thrall would be a spell. And the man went forth and held it over the heads of dozens of people and did not tell them what it was, and they suddenly smiled and became bright and the thrall was broken for them. And the man saw that this was good, and so he showed many people how to use the golden ball, and told them all that was necessary to break the black enchantment clear across the whole world. And some used it, and others said, "Isn't it pretty?" and began to play catch with it. And some said, "It isn't really gold." And some wanted to hide it for fear it would be stolen. And some said, "It's gold," and bought knives and pistols with it and fought. And some said cunningly, "With this power, I can rule earth." And others simply ran about and said it wasn't really a ball, and that the man had stolen it from others, and they clutched their black enchantment about them and whispered that the man had done it in the first place and that he planned to kill them all. But the man paid little heed. He tried to form companies to make the golden ball available to many. But the people in the company said, "It's mine, it's power, it's gold, and the man will kill us all." And so they fought amongst themselves and threw dust over the golden ball and tried to dent it. And at last, the man sat down in a desert place and sent his word about that anybody could use this ball that wanted it. And they sent officers and thieves and lawyers at him to say that nobody could use the ball. And they took the captain's money and they took the man's captain and said they would imprison him for saying the golden ball was owned by everybody. And they made the government put guards around the man in case anybody sent him money to help ship the golden ball to everybody. And the man looked at these people, and not one of them who hated the golden ball had ever used it in any way, but only thrown dust on it and tried to dent it. And he looked at the sly people who went up and down the road saying, "It is not really gold, and the man really stole it." And then he looked and saw beyond these the haggard faces, the crippled children, the sorrowing women, and above all these he saw the red cloud of the battle. And the battle cloud grew taller, and it grew taller and taller, as though it hung up with fire up above an entire world. And the man sitting in the desert place looked at the golden ball. Now, each of you potentially has a golden ball. You all know. You all know what it is that's required to turn around a situation. You have that ability. So, not everybody is going to trust you or your motives when you present this particular golden ball. But you do have the potential to create and use your own golden ball. Now, Mr. Hubbard in Scientology wrote a book called put together a book called What is Scientology, which gives you answers to all kinds of things about all kinds of problems. And you should check that out too. All right? Have a happy season. Create your own golden ball. That's all.